Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Welcome to this Health Supplier Segment. Our guest in studio today is well-versed in the area of interior design of medical facilities. 36 years in the medical field, 18 years of those being with Pro Interiors. Mr. Bruce Puffer, founder of Pro Medical Interiors. How are you doing today, Bruce?
I'm doing very well.
One never thinks of who put the office together, who put the medical practice together as far as being convenient, functionally workable, aesthetically pleasing. You're one of those guys, yeah?
Yeah, I am. It's kind of an interesting tale that I have. I've got basically a design background. I went to interior design school here locally. Took a job with a company that would outfit physicians when they were getting out of medical school. Mm-hmm. That was back in the 70s. So it was really kind of a grounds up kind of an education. So dealing with the doctors, trying to find out the ergonomics and the dynamics of working with the patient, and trying to understand the flow and the equipment that goes in a room, and how the doctor is kind of trained in medical school. The relationship from the right side or the left side, where the organs are placed in the body. So setting up, so we kind of figured out, the best way to set up an exam room so that the orientation was correct for the doctor. And then the placement of all the equipment, where you would put a blood pressure cuff, where you would put an otoscope and ophthalmoscope. If you put it behind the patient's head, you're going to end up strangling the patient when you try to get to the other side of the ear. Some of those kind of dynamics. And if you take that and kind of just extrapolate it all the way out and figure out the flow of, moving patients through the office and what kind of a support system is required based on a specialty, with gathering weights and gathering, some preliminary information, like a little staging area for the patients as they're going through the medical system.
So basically, you have to consult with each physician to get a handle on their specialty, first of all, and then the way that they like to do things and the way that patients will be most efficiently and effectively treated with the equipment that you place in that room.
Yes, correctly.
And each design is as unique as the physicians that order them. That's
true. Right, because not everyone's going to work the same way. Sometimes the physician wants to do an EKG. Sometimes he has his tech do an EKG. Weights, oftentimes with a baby, because they are so light that it's important to get their weights without any clothes on. So, you need to do that in in an exam room. So you got to set that up, as part of a bed system. There should be a scale, on that bed system.
Is Pro Interiors involved in just the placement of equipment? Or are you involved in design as far as window treatments, wall coverings, flooring, and things of that nature as well?
Yeah, so we will specify all the materials that go into a suite from the time you open the door until the time you go out the back door. Analyze the amount of patients that a physician is going to see in the course of an hour so we can calculate what we need for waiting room space. Sit with a physician, see what he wants to do in the waiting room, if he wants to have a TV in the waiting room, if he wants to supply water or coffee.
So even the waiting areas are part of your repertoire as far as design. Where are you located? Do you just have one location or do you have a chain?
No, we're actually based in Plymouth, Mass. So we primarily do New England. We've been doing a lot of medical buildings, so it's that's really the most fun because you get to take a whole list of tenants going in the building and try to figure out the relationships between different types of specialties and then the relationship of where they belong within a building. A lot of buildings are putting in an urgent care facility. With that, you have some requirements for some stat testing. Laboratory services are great if they're in the building. That helps complement the urgent care component. Radiology services are required for an urgent care, so rather than the urgent care department having to shoulder that cost, you can just take advantage of a radiology facility.
Now, how long have you been operating there out of Plymouth, Mass?
We've been in Plymouth since 2000. We were in Hingham for a few years before that.
So basically about 16, 17 years you've been in existence, yeah?
Yeah, as professional interiors, I had another partner that decided he wanted to do something different. I did that with him for 10 years, 25 years.
About 25 years. when it comes to consulting with different physicians, what are we talking about as far as financing? I mean, is this something that is funded through different types of programs or incentives, especially when we're talking about somebody just out of medical school?
Yeah, so we'll provide all the architectural services that are required to put that whole program together. Everything has to get approved by the town. Everything with the town has to get architecturally stamped. All the egresses have to be correct. The bathroom counts, all the architectural barrier boards have to have to get met. So there's a cost. It's an expense of doing it. Unfortunately, it gets to be more and more every day. So that's pretty much all part of the services that we offer. We can do it if it's just a consulting. If the physician has some issues with either the aesthetics or the flow of the office, we can provide some services for an hourly basis. If there was merchandise that the physician needed, we do a lot of millwork. We can incorporate those costs into things that are purchased if that's the direction that they want to go.
Do you offer just design and I guess drafting services and let someone decide who they would like to install if they're out of your area, or do you travel if that's the case?
If it's part of the millwork, I do all that in house. If it's other things like flooring and the physical construction of it, that would typically fall under the contractor's umbrella. The millwork would fall under the contractor's umbrella, but typically I'm working hand in hand with either a developer or the contractor. Now, if somebody came to me and they had no contractor or they needed a developer, I can provide names that I've worked with for those needs.
What are some of the innovations in medical office interiors? Because, medical offices have been around for quite a while. And I remember, getting my football physical at the doctor down in my hometown. And, things have changed drastically. What are some of the latest innovations as far as ergonomically and aesthetically pleasing spaces? When
you went to the door, the first thing you're trying to find is somebody that you can communicate with. So the placement, even of a reception area, is kind of important to the beginning of your feel for the facility. And I try to frame that person, with a nice look. So we try to add some color, some texture, a little bit of architectural interest. Try to look beyond that picture to, like the wall behind that person, and make sure that that whole silhouette is well framed. And then, chairs should be, comfortable. We're kind of a growing society in our dimensions, so, there needs to be some seats that aren't of the smaller size that it used to be. Everyone's kind of sensitive these days about moving patients to the facility, so, we're trying to minimize the amount of time spent in the waiting room. We want to get them into the process a little bit quicker. So we're trying to stage patients a little bit more than we did in the past. Getting into the exam rooms, a lot of the exams and a lot of the treatments that are done today, it's almost like a family affair. So we've got to kick up the size of the exam rooms. We used to do them 7 6x9. It's just not adequate today. You've almost always got a guest with you. So when we set up an exam room, we try to triangulate the people in the room so that we've got a patient, we've got a guest, and then we have the provider. And that you should be able to be looking at a computer and looking at the other people in the room at the same time.
Because I've got that feeling before that I wasn't being paid attention to, that the physician was way more into the computer than myself. I've gotten that feeling before. And I've also been in a space where, as you described, it was almost as if they could simultaneously talk with me and do their data entry. So I understand exactly what you're talking about when it comes to the functionality of that space. Now, where can our listening audience get much more information about Pro Interiors?
Yes, we have a website called Pro Medical Interiors.
Okay, could you go ahead and spell that for us?
Pro, P-R-O, Medical, M-E-D-I-C-A-L, Interiors with an S, INTERIORS.com.
Thanks so much. And the telephone number?
508-746-7474.
Great. Thank you so much. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio, our Health Supplier segment. We've been in studio today talking with Bruce Puffer, the founder of Pro Medical Interiors, with an extensive range of experience, 36 years in the medical field, 18 years of those being with Pro Interiors, transforming medical practice locations for over 2 decades. We've been here talking about the flow at the reception desk to utility and comfort of patient rooms. He also customizes interior designs that entice new patients and allow physicians better tools to do their job better. It's been great talking with you today, Bruce.
Thanks, Howard. Appreciate the call.
Thank you. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au and also at hpr.fm, and you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.